Can you actually talk to God at Burning Man? What about shaving decades off your biological age? Lots has been said about the iconic festival in the desert over the years, and some of the craziest things might actually be true. Believe it or not, Burning Man's origins were rather humble, like really humble. According to the Sacred Tribes Journal, the festival started with a measly 20 attendees in San Francisco, California in 1986. The concept of the festival basically started on a whim when Larry Harvey asked his friend Jerry James if he wanted to set fire to a wooden figure in an attempt to mark the summer solstice. As James recalled many years later, he didn't really get it at first.
Somehow I couldn't understand why he would want to do this or what it could possibly mean or what benefit there could be.
Interestingly, Harvey was inspired by Mary Grauberger, an artist who would create sculptures and burn them. According to the Washington Post, Harvey was really moved by the fact that others joined him at the location and that they wholeheartedly supported the event. The enterprising Harvey ended up repeating the event the following year, which eventually led to the inception of Burning Man as we know it today. After the first get-together, the event continued to become popular. In fact, by the time the fourth year rolled around, the festival was so popular that cops decided to pay a visit and interrupt the event. At that point, the wooden figure was massive, around 40 feet tall at least. Harvey and his pals weren't discouraged in the least and simply decided to change their location in order to continue with what they had planned. They went directly to the Black Rock Desert in Reno, Nevada, accompanied by a group called the Cacophonist Society. They continued the event in the middle of the desert and even ended up carrying out their signature burning ritual, coupled with other shenanigans, like racing in the desert at crazy speeds. Things were about to get crazier with the subsequent editions of the festival. You might not know that Burning Man offers a rare opportunity for attendees to remember their loved ones by visiting a temple at the festival. You can pen a letter to someone you're grieving for and leave a message. It's recommended that you allow yourself time to mourn at the festival and write how you really feel instead of trying to do something beforehand. There's no pressure though, since there are no actual rules for the ritual. It's acceptable to come up with a letter for yourself, to no one in particular, or anything else that catches your fancy. A description on the Burning Man site explains it best. Those who participate in this tradition often find that it works as a spiritual cleansing, a liberator of the mind, and a psychological release. What is for certain is that the temple always stirs awe and inspiration. Perhaps unsurprisingly, the temple is set on fire during the course of the festival, something that many find incredibly touching and life-changing. Burning Man has a list of 10 principles that its loyalists tend to follow religiously. These include ideas like embracing the concept of giving gifts to other attendees at the event.
I think it contributes to this idea that Burning Man is just one great big giant playground.
It's an unconditional act that's performed without any expectations. Additionally, the festival has a strict policy that rejects commercialization. Furthermore, Burning Man doesn't rely on things like advertising. As far as the festival is concerned, it's crucial to keep the true essence and spirit of Burning Man alive, so the event relies heavily on its people and the sense of community they carry with them to keep the fire burning. Participants are also heavily encouraged to respect rules and not violate any laws while attending the festival. Another principle is dedicated to the environment and the importance of safeguarding its beauty. As the site explains, our community respects the environment. We are committed to leaving no physical trace of our activities wherever we gather. It's also important for attendees to try and leave the area as clean and spotless as possible after the festival is over. Diversity has long been a big part of Burning Man. In fact, according to one of its 10 principles, participants from varied backgrounds are encouraged to attend. A statement from the festival reads, "Anyone may be part of Burning Man. We welcome and respect the stranger. No prerequisites exist for participation in our community." This ideology runs somewhat counter to the common idea many people conjure up when festivals are mentioned these days, which is that they are most often populated by young adults in their 20s. However, a study by YouGov shows that people aged 30 to 44 are actually the largest festival-going group. Despite good intentions, Burning Man has been unable to ward off accusations that it has strayed away from what it originally stood for. As illustrated by The Guardian back in 2019, the festival was starting to suffer on account of the fact that droves of social media influencers were flocking there and promoting brands, an act that definitely goes against its true spirit. Complaints started to pour in from older Burning Man attendees who have always tried their best to honor the original tenets of the festival. Additionally, it was alleged that certain unfavorable camping groups had started popping up. As a result, one such camp was ultimately banned for promoting things like yoga retreats and meditation and energy healing sessions.
Wow.
In response to the crackdown, Burning Man's CEO Marion Goodell said, "Burning Man strives to stand in technicolor contrast to the typical consumerist, status-driven, brand-saturated, optimized for your convenience world." She added that the team truly believes in the festival's original spirit and what it stands for, implying that the organization wouldn't ignore future transgressions. Burning Man has received a lot of attention from tech companies. For instance, entrepreneur Shane Metcalf decided to reimburse his employees for the ticket expenses in 2019, according to the Los Angeles Times. He hoped that the initiative would give members of his team a chance to be more creative and also feel more connected with each other. Another company, Face Party, encouraged its employees to attend the festival and experience something new back in 2007. Additionally, many major players in the tech sphere, such as Tesla's founder Elon Musk, Garrett Camp from Uber, and Google's ex-CEO Eric Schmidt, have been part of Burning Man in the past and showcased their support for the festival. It might come as no surprise that Burning Man ended up being involved in the controversial Me Too movement. According to a 2018 Vogue piece, the story gets a bit complicated when it comes to sexual assault allegations at the festival. Turns out, a few attendees wanted to suggest a few changes to the way things worked at Burning Man even before the Me Too movement took off. Most importantly, they wanted the founders to tweak the festival's principles to include consent. A project was started in 2012 by those who'd been a part of the festival, which is called 11th Principle, Consent. One of the founding members, Jamie Chandra, said, "We had some issues at our burn, and that same year there were a ton of sexual assault reports from Black Rock City." As per Chandra, many attendees have sadly missed what Burning Man stands for to, quote, take advantage of this culture of radical expression and inclusion and act inappropriately with other attendees. As reported by the New York Times, Burning Man has chosen to step up and address consent. The festival's website has several pieces that focus on ways to tackle sexual assault at the event. Participants are encouraged to turn to the services available at the event to seek help and report incidents. The website further states that the festival does not tolerate sexual harassment of any kind. While Burning Man doesn't stick to commercial activities, it's been unable to escape commodification in the outside world. Reno Tahoe International Airport witnesses the arrival of many festival attendees every year from different parts of the world, making it an incredibly busy time for those working at the airport. It's believed that the airport gets as much as $10 million every year thanks to those heading to the festival.
Damn!
Larry Harvey, to his credit, did address the fact that Burning Man does fall prey to commercial activities. Additionally, he explained what goes on behind the scenes. He told The Atlantic, "They say that because we have a principle of decommodification that we're against money. But no, it's not really about money." He added that he doesn't discount the fact that the team needs to rely on market economics to make the event happen in the first place. Still, the team uses tools such as crowdfunding to make the event successful and to put up its glorious art installations every year. Make no mistake, Burning Man fully lives up to its image when it's supposed to. It's even possible to make a phone call to God at the event and pour out your heart.
Come again?
It's not what you think, though. The truth is that volunteers pick up and allow you to share whatever is on your mind. A Redditor recounted the experience and wrote about what it was like to talk about their feelings. They wrote, "I stumbled upon the Talk to God phone booth and it made me smile. They couldn't help but feel curious and picked up the phone, crying when they heard someone talking to them on the line. The conversation moved to the Redditor's late brother and left them feeling understood and at peace." They added, "That was the most cathartic and healing experience I've ever had. I look back on it all the time and smile." Another Redditor shared their encounter with the booth and wrote that they were struggling and couldn't make up their mind about shifting base to a different city. The conversation ultimately helped them make the difficult decision. In case this hasn't already been made clear, Burning Man is by no means boring or predictable. As far as music at the event is concerned, plenty of changes have been embraced by the festival over the years. The event has welcomed all kinds of artists to its festivals, including popular DJs like Armin van Buuren, Tiesto, and Skrillex, among others. As a Billboard piece pointed out, the fact that electronic music has become integral to the festival is a bittersweet pill for many to swallow. A longtime loyalist explained why he supported this move himself and recounted a memorable experience. He said, "Having Tiesto play your camp in 2005 when he was big, but not the monster he is now, and he was still playing what I would consider great progressive trance, that was magical, and everyone that was there that night experienced a little piece of magic." That said, he admitted that Burning Man sometimes misses out on the raw talent that unknown DJs can bring to the festival. The COVID-19 pandemic affected pretty much everything in 2020, including Burning Man's annual celebration. Unsurprisingly, the organizers decided to call the whole thing off.
In a tweet, they said the decision is in the interest of the health and well-being of the community.
Nonetheless, a few enthusiasts decided to flock to Nevada and go ahead with private celebrations of their own around the end of August. The group of 1,000 or so participants called the unsanctioned event Not Burning 2020. Of course, it helped that the desert is vast and attendees could practice social distancing without stressing over the logistics. In an interview with NBC News 4, one of the organizers explained that the team tried their best to keep things as safe as possible. They said, "We knew people were going to come out here either way because of that spiritual connection to the area. So we decided to keep people's camps 200 feet away from one another and to advise wearing masks when meeting others." For years, Burning Man has been a hippie's dream come true, where like-minded souls gathered for days of art, music, and the sort of old-school fun that didn't require anyone to blow their life savings on the experience. By 2023, though, that had changed to the point where CNN observed billionaires ruined Burning Man. How? When the 1% show up with their personal chefs and luxurious tents kitted out with chandeliers, well, that's the opposite of the point. In 2019, Burning Man CEO Marion Goodell posted on the changing culture of Burning Man and shared just how disappointing it was, particularly with the rise of Instagram influencers and luxury camps. One, Camp Humano, was outright banned from attending future events, and around a dozen others were warned. What was Camp Humano? A luxury tent with air conditioning and all the creature comforts of a 1%er home, with numbers like $100,000 thrown around for pricing.
Wow, Mr. Moneybags, huh?
Some condemned Goodell's reaction as a too little too late sort of thing, saying that people like Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg had been leading the festival down the path to ruin for a long time. It wasn't just the outrageous prices either. As one Redditor summed up, arguably the biggest loss is the freedom people feel on the playa to express themselves. As cameras are becoming so common, it makes a lot of burners wary. Burning Man-style art and technology might seem like they're at opposite ends of the creativity spectrum, but Stanford professor Fred Turner has done some fascinating work looking at how the festival's culture has had an invaluable and long-lasting impact on the tech world of Silicon Valley. His interest, he explained, was in the crossover between tech and art, sparked by the fact that Google's office walls are filled with photos from Burning Man. There was an obvious connection there. The connection was actually pretty straightforward, and Turner says that the anything-goes outside-the-box collaborative creativity that's fostered in Burning Man projects is precisely what Silicon Valley tapped into to create the technology that exists today. He explained, "The collaborative, project-centered building and play that Burning Man supports help build social and professional networks of folks who come together back here in Silicon Valley and make things." There were a few more layers to it, too. Both Burning Man and Silicon Valley present unique challenges with no roadmap, strict deadlines, difficult conditions, and force people to work together to create something that's then sent out into the world, or, in the case of Burning Man, celebrated by others on the playa. Burning Man might seem like the perfect place for any free spirits who prefer going barefoot to wearing dress shoes, but it turns out that not only has it become a go-to for the ultra-wealthy, but some of those burners might just be undercover FBI agents.
Narc!
That's what Muckrock discovered after filing a Freedom of Information Act request in 2012 and subsequently gaining access to heavily redacted documents. The documents outline the Bureau's initial thoughts for investigating the festival, including their greatest concerns, which are crowd control issues and use of illegal drugs by the participants. This surveillance seems to have started in 2010 when an unnamed party had reached out to a private security firm to ask them to, quote, conduct a threat assessment, which doesn't seem unreasonable given the sheer number of people there. But it doesn't seem to have ended there, and the documents also suggest that the Bureau had continued to keep an eye on Burning Man via undercover agents. Along with notes on approving overtime for agents tasked with working special events, part of a 2010 memo suggests that Burning Man presented a unique opportunity for agents to work alongside other law enforcement agencies. It further specified that agents would be able to, quote, aid in the prevention of terrorist activities and intelligence collection. Take a look at almost any photos or videos from Burning Man, and a few things will stand out, aside from the Mad Max vibe.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
It all looks very hot, very dry, and very dusty, and the festival even has official guidelines on how to deal with the dust. Key? It's super important to get it off all your things ASAP. Not only will it make your skin, nose, and throat painfully dry, it'll seriously damage any tech, stain anything that's stainable, corrode anything that's corrodable, and turn your bike into a creaky pile of gears and chains. And then there's playa foot, which is a condition that essentially leaves chemical burns on revelers' feet. Vinegar is apparently one of the only things that'll really neutralize it, so what gives? The entire area that's turned into Burning Man every year actually has a very cool history and goes back 2.5 million years. It was originally a lake, but then this ancient mammoth stomping ground dried up somewhere around 11,700 years ago and left dust that's so alkaline it's damaging. But there's good news. The Reno Gazette-Journal spoke with Northern Nevada Medical Group pulmonary specialist Dr. Aleem Surani, who confirmed that breathing the dust for the few days of Burning Man wouldn't likely cause any long-term problems. That said, those masks aren't just for looks, and anyone with pre-existing conditions should take extra precautions. With a complete lack of fancy hotels, car rentals, and restaurants, it might seem like Burning Man would be a great affordable trip. Just grab some camping gear and go, right? It's not that simple anymore, and in 2023, SFGate took a look at just how much it would cost to attend, for a normal person that is. They stress that Burning Man actually does start with hotels, car rentals, and restaurants, judging by the approximately $60 million that out-of-towners invest into the local economy each and every year. Ticket prices depend on how they're purchased and range anywhere from $575 to $2,750. That's a given, along with the $150 parking fee. Most burners will also be forking over some cash to carve out a niche for their campsite, and that varies wildly. Some places are free, whereas some will set you back as much as $5,000. How much a burner spends on their gear varies too, with many saying that their spending is comfortably in the few $1,000s range, adding in bike purchase or rental, transportation to and from the nearest city, which is 120 miles away, and post-festival cleanup. The BBC interviewed a few people who had gone and found that while one got away with spending a relatively small $1,500 for her trip, others hovered in the $4,000 to $8,000 range. That can easily hit the $10,000 mark. So it goes without saying that if you're hoping to experience a festival with a plethora of creature comforts and conveniences, you might have to adopt a Jordan Belfort sort of mentality when it comes to your hard-earned money.
What I call them? Fun coupons. See that? A fun coupon.
The concept of biological age is pretty interesting stuff. It's basically the idea that everyone ages independently of the calendar, depending on factors such as genetics and lifestyle. GQ interviewed tech guru Brian Johnson, who sold his business for millions and turned to work on prolonging his life. According to him, years of effort have given him the heart health of someone 10 years younger than his 45-year calendar age. Getting there isn't easy and is a job in itself. Mainstream medical research has confirmed that biological age is a thing, and here's where Burning Man comes in. Inside Tracker is a biometrics tracker that measures the impact that your choices, from food to sleep schedule, have on the efficiency and health of your body. In 2021, Erin Sharoni used their inner age algorithm to estimate her biological age before and after Burning Man, and maybe Brian Johnson should stay away from this particular festival. Her biological age increased by a whopping 21 years during her time at Burning Man, and when she broke things down by the numbers, she found that elements like the extreme temperatures and lack of humidity had drastically impacted things like her glucose, cortisol, and iron levels. She was also in a pretty bad bike accident that didn't help, but her takeaway? She said, "You have one life to live, and enjoying it is as critical as anything else." In 2007, Burning Man's iconic Burning Man effigy was the target of a little pre-burn arson. The Reno Gazette-Journal says that people had always been trying to set it on fire ahead of schedule because people are people and fire is neat. But Paul Addis was arrested, convicted, and released on parole after serving 2 of his 4-year sentence. In a 2007 interview with Wired, Addis said that although he couldn't take credit for the early burn because his court case was still in progress, he did say that he understood the motivation behind it. He said that originally, Burning Man was filled with, quote, "a lot of people who were very interested in making sure the future of America was better than the past." That, he said, ended when Burning Man fell into financial difficulties and sacrificed idealism for cash. He lamented, "Burning Man doesn't accomplish anything anymore. What do we get out of Burning Man? Nothing." Tragically, this wasn't the end of his story. In 2008, Addis was given court-ordered counseling after carrying a backpack of fireworks into a San Francisco church. A few years later, SFGate reported that he had died by suicide. Taking the overarching ethos of Burning Man into account, you'd think that the festival is, at least on some level, eco-friendly, right? According to The Wire, it's anything but. Yep, in spite of entire camps based around sustainability, composting, and vegan food, a 2023 investigation found that most of Burning Man was anything but sustainable. Instead, it was populated by RVs burning gasoline in a big way, and there was also the biggest power drain of all, air conditioning. At the time, there was only a single solar-powered camp, and they could only do it because they had $200,000 of equipment. They were the exception, and the bottom line was that the average carbon footprint of a single burner was twice what an average American put out. Those behind Burning Man say that they're trying to swing things back towards sustainability, but are they really? In 2023, the Washington Post reported on an interesting lawsuit filed by the Burning Man Project. They were suing to stop a geothermal project from going ahead, claiming it would negatively impact nearby hot springs, although the project was part of the government's clean energy initiatives. A crucial part of the Burning Man ethos has always been leave no trace.
I think leave no trace to me, and expand on that, is just picking up after yourself. Taking care of your world and taking care of everybody else's world, leaving it like you found it.
Though it seems pretty straightforward, it's anything but. After rain turned 2023's burn into a muddy nightmare, the playa was abandoned en masse. An update from the Burning Man project gave a massive shout out to everyone who returned to help clean up the playa, saying that many people retreated, regrouped, and then came back to clean. That's great, but comments left after the updates on the Burning Man project journal suggest that's not the end of the story. One read, "Yep, your trash is all scattered in Fernley, Fallon, and Reno. Totally disgusting." Another read, "The trash is scattered all the way to Gabbs, Tonopah, and even Beatty. Cars, trailers, campers, wheels, and tires and trash, left right where it falls. Disgusting and shameful." KUNR says that's nothing new, and that although the playa might be cleared of everything, down to hairs, fibers, and pieces of glitter, trash is all too often dumped on the side of the road, despite massive signs warning of the penalties for illegal dumping. Local business owners feel it too, with some needing to book entire dumpsters to deal with the trash left in their parking lots. SF Gate spoke to business owners like Mark Lowenstern of Crossroads Car Wash, who said that Burning Man attendees treat his place like a dump. Others said the same thing occurred at Donner Memorial State Park.